Welcome back to Window on Thailand, the Andaman. My guest today here is Andrew Hunter from Hunter Sotheby International Realty to talk more about the business side of things as well as the future trend. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So going on to our question here, who keeps track and makes sure that the property is rodent-free and clean before somebody moves in?
Many of the properties which our clients buy are located on estates, secure estates, and they themselves have a dedicated property management which will take care of gardening, of the private area of the villa, for example, of the communal areas, the pest control, refuge, and indeed the security. And in addition, where we might have a property or a villa that is out with an estate, there are many property services companies that exist on the island, professional, experienced property services companies.
So are there any restrictions regarding the number of occupants per property size for your rental properties?
Yes, there are. Yeah, usually a landlord would provide a guide as to how many they would consider and the types of person they would consider. For example, if it's a 4-bedroom villa that can accommodate 10 people, you can imagine a landlord wouldn't be too receptive to 10 teenagers or 20-year-old something, but would be receptive to 2 families that included 4 adults and 6 young children. So we get clear guidelines as to what they would appreciate.
Anyone outside of that guideline cannot stay in that particular...
No, that's not the case, no.
Oh, okay. Okay. But it's just a guideline.
Well, you know, properties, like anything, they can become run down. So they've got to be very mindful of that. And the more they rent the property, the more wear and tear. So they are quite selective about the numbers of people that use the property at any one time. It can put a lot of stress on a property and on the equipment within a property.
Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about that, of course, that deals with prices. So there's obviously a lot of fluctuation in prices at the moment.
With regards to prices of properties for sale, prices have clearly come off the tops, but they've held firm through a period of time and through a period when there's been some quite dramatic and traumatic events in global economics, the global financial crisis of 2 years ago, and previous to that, the socio-political events which we've had to face in Thailand, the coup and thereafter political insurrection, closures of airports and so on. So the prices have held very firm, and I think that in itself is a commendation of Phuket and the real estate market, in that during that period, where else in other parts of the world prices have fallen significantly, they have been extremely resilient, most likely a function of there being very little debt in the market here. But nevertheless, prices have fallen somewhat, and the demand for the real estate has fallen off also. So to encourage a buyer today, we're seeing that vendors need to be a little bit more realistic with pricing and also a little bit more creative.
Right, right. So when would you say would be the best time to buy a property at this time?
Well, some people do comment that away from the peak period, and certainly in the low season, would be the best.
Away from the peak period?
Away from the peak period, and most definitely in the low season.
And when is that for those people who are
Some people prefer not to call it the low season.
The green season?
The green season, yes.
Right.
In July, maybe in June and July, when we are 3-4 months away from the island becoming busy again, one might expect that vendors would be a little bit more flexible and their tolerances would be less firm. Personally, I don't buy that argument. I think so long as you have engaged a good agent who knows the tolerances of the vendor and that person can be an effective negotiator, I don't see that there is a reason why you can't find the right property at any time of the year. I suppose that the 6-week period of the peak season between mid-December to the end of January would find vendors a little bit more bullish and a little bit more resistant to offers. But outside of that, I think you can be...
So actually for you guys, perhaps the green season is the high season.
What we do find is that we might engage or be engaged by the majority of our buyers in the peak period, but then they revisit and we find ourselves negotiating on their behalf in the low season. So sales are spread across the year in reality.
That's interesting. So Andrew, talk about safety here. Thailand is pretty safe compared to the rest of the world. So do you feel that in the future there will be a higher demand for property buyers here?
Yes, I do, and I think Phuket has a great allure, and the demand for Phuket real estate will continue. I think it stands out from a very healthy crowd, and I think it will continue to stand above its peers in Langkawi, for example, which is popular, Bali, and even some of its Thai competitors. It's a smaller competitor of Koh Samui in the Gulf, and Pattaya and Hua Hin. I think Phuket ticks many more boxes than some of these other locations.
So Andrew, before we end the interview, is there anything you would like to say to people who want to buy or rent a property in the Andaman Sea region?
I would encourage people to do their homework before they make an offer to buy or to secure something to rent. Don't jump in naively. There are too many sob stories. You won't want to end up a statistic.
Okay.
Certainly, I think it's worthwhile, and not worthwhile, but critical that they engage a professional, reputable agent, certainly if they're thinking about buying here. Work with that agent, take references if required, and rigorously check the property before they make an offer and proceed to due diligence with the lawyers, because at that point they've already made a financial deposit, and that financial deposit is generally not refundable, only if there was to be found some encumbrance on the land title or the corporate structure. So shake the property, make sure it's the right thing, and if in doubt, then don't buy it, don't rent it, wait for a moment, step back, revisit the property and the subject later on, make an informed decision, and try to take out some of the emotional decision. And Phuket has so much more to offer than I think many of the first-time visitors has realised. So, you know, we hope that we see these people again, those people that have visited as a tourist. They enjoy themselves, they revisit, and ultimately they might find that there's more benefit in buying here in the future.
Right, excellent, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Andrew, for your time. And that was Andrew Hunter from Hunter Sotheby International Realty. And we're here at Window on Thailand, the Andaman. My name is Abel. I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. My name is Abel Wanamakok. Sawadee ka.